What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the King Crusoe YouTube channel and the March State of Affairs, the monthly update series where I go over everything on the channel each month. There's a little bit of a change coming in this video that I'll let you know about a little bit later when that becomes applicable. Nothing too major, so don't worry about it for now. We'll get there when we get there. If you're wondering why I'm over on this side of the frame this time, it's because the last couple months of doing State of Affairs, I've noticed that editing in the information and stuff for schedules and whatnot over on this side of the frame is a little bit harder to do when I'm in the middle, so I've moved myself over a little bit to make it easier for future me to do editing for the State of Affairs. So without further ado, let's start off like normal with the videos that came out last month. So there were two seasonal podcast episodes that came out. Lane and I covered Iron Man 2 for episode 2 of the MCU review, and we covered Joker for our first episode of miscellaneous movies, I guess I'm calling it for now. So those were a couple fun episodes. The Joker episode got a little bit crazy. Not really super crazy, but it got a little bit unhinged in a couple ways at the end because we were so tired recording that. But we had fun with it. Outside of the podcast, there were 4 book binge episodes as opposed to January's 5. There were 4 book binge episodes in February, the first one being the January reading wrap-up and February TBR that I did, and then I did reviews of all 3 volumes of Lord of the Rings, which I really enjoyed doing those. Those are spoiler-free, so if you're one of the relatively few people who has not read Lord of the Rings, go ahead and check those reviews out and see if it's for you. And then after those two other videos came out that did not fall into those 2 series. I did my January book haul video, and that was a pretty fun video to do. Got lots of comments on that one, actually. That was a pretty fun discussion. And then I finally released my video game review for Uncharted 2 in my A Critical Analysis series. Last Friday, I believe it was. Whatever the 4th Friday of February was, on the 25th, I think, that's when that video came out. Now, I'm very proud of that video just because I started doing a critical analysis, doing video game reviews and stuff like that back in late 2020, and I did like 5 or maybe 6 episodes of that. I can't remember for sure. And then I just got burnt out. I got burnt out on doing YouTube. I got burnt out on everything in late 2020. And we all went through 2020 together. We all know the reasons why we all got burnt out that year, to be completely honest. So I got burnt out, and then I didn't do any videos in 2021. And I came back, and I knew that when I started doing YouTube again that I wanted to start releasing critical analysis again. That's the first video that I've done since then, wrapping up Season 1. I'm very excited to move on to Season 2 in the future with kind of some updated editing techniques and writing styles and stuff like that. Next up, let's cover what writing came out on seasonalproductions.com last month. In case you don't know, I do have my own website where I self-publish basically all sorts of different writing, as well as keeping up a backlog of all of my video content, so you can go bookmark that if you're interested in seeing everything that I've been doing. Only one blog came out last month in February, and I think that's going to be more typical for most months. I think only 1, maybe 2 blogs are going to come out most months, because that's all I really have time to write at this point in time. But those 2 blogs were my thoughts on The Last of Us remake. That was a gaming-related blog. And then I ranked every Fit for an Autopsy album. Fit for an Autopsy is my favorite deathcore band, so I had a lot of fun kind of going through the discography again and deciding where their new album was ranked in my initial opinions of how their discography was ranked for me personally. So that's up there. I had one short story come out last month like normal that was called Asylum's Asylum. That's part 1 of just a general short story called The Asylum, where I was trying to do a couple new writing techniques for those. So that came out last month. And then I finished posting the novella titled In the Mountain Pass, which is a historical fiction novella about the Dyatlov Pass incident. The Dyatlov Pass incident. If you don't know what that is, there are plenty of videos on YouTube that kind of talk about the case of that. I wrote a novella about it, and although the whole thing was supposed to be able to go up on the website in January, things happened, so part 3 of that didn't actually come out until February. I'm actually really happy with the way that ended. And then my novel, my first novel in the Rain of Ash sequence called Silent Rain, Chapters 4 through 6 posted. 4 through 7 were supposed to post last month, but because of work-related stuff, Chapter 7 didn't sorry, that's a lie. Because of work-related stuff, Chapter 6 didn't get written in time, so I had to postpone that, which subsequently pushed Chapter 7 a little bit back, and this is where schedule relating stuff are going to change a little bit. We'll get to that in a couple sections from now. And then one poem came out last month, and I'm thinking similar to blogs, I think one, maybe two poems are going to come out each month on the first Sunday. This one was called Kados Visage Darper. Just like I said in the State of Affairs last month, that name is going to make zero sense to basically, and well, that name's going to make zero sense to everybody for a good long while, but there are hints in that poem, like my other two poems, that relate to my fantasy series, The Reign of Ash sequence. So if you're interested in kind of getting just a little bit of a shorter poem type of thing that may hint some things for that series, there's those. And now we move on to the third section of the video where we talk about what videos are coming out this month in March. Well, two more episodes of the seasonal podcast are going to post like normal. The first one of those coming on the 4th, which is this Friday, is going to be Spider-Man No Way Home, an MCU review bonus episode. It's not like a review in the way that Lane and I have done the first two Iron Man movies up to this point, but because of the movie coming out recently enough, I decided that I really wanted to talk about it. He wanted to talk about it a little bit too, so we did a short 40, maybe 45-minute episode about some of our general thoughts and feelings on some of the things about that. Keep in mind that that is definitely not spoiler free at all, so if you have somehow managed to avoid spoilers for all of these 3 months or something like that, props to you for managing to avoid all those, but we will be covering some massive spoilers from that movie, so go into that with a little bit of caution. And then the other podcast episode that will be coming out in March is our top 10 video games of all time, part 1. This is going to be 2 parts. The first part of it is coming out on the 18th, so the third Friday of the month. Lane and I cover, our 10 favorite games, basically. There's nothing really more to say about that, but we had fun talking about that. Then on the table for Mondays, like normal, is going to be 4 more book binge episodes for March. Those are going to be my February reading wrap-up video coming next Monday on the 7th. I have a Lord of the Rings tier list and ranking video coming out on the 14th. That was fun to record, not so much fun to edit because I couldn't get an actual tier list to work for that. You'll see in that video I just kind of did my own thing on the side of over here, like I kind of do with these videos. But go check that out if you're interested in seeing that. If you wanted to see a little bit of my spoilery type of thoughts on a couple of different stuff in the Lord of the Rings series, since my 3 Lord of the Rings reviews for February were spoiler free, you can watch the tier list and ranking video where I talk about some things without the filter of being spoiler free that time. Then I did a review for Stephen King's Salem's Lot. I'm having struggles speaking today. I very much apologize. I did a review for Salem's Lot by Stephen King that comes out on the 21st, and then I did a review for The Gunslinger, the first book in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, and that video will be coming out on the 28th. And then besides those, I have the February book haul video coming out on the 11th. That video is a little bit shorter because I did manage to make a smaller haul that time, but there is a shout out to another special YouTuber in that video, so go check that video out when it releases on the 11th, the second Friday of the month. And then on the 4th Friday of the month, on the 25th, I will be releasing the debut episode of the Platinum Review, which is a second video game review series kind of going over different criteria than a critical analysis on my channel. The very first episode of that, called Astro's Playroom, the Platinum Review, will be coming out. That one is a little bit more reminiscent of how Season 2 of a critical analysis is going to look. It goes over some other different things. I decided what better way to start off the Platinum Review video series than with the first game that I got a Platinum Trophy in on the PS5, because I managed to get one of those. So go check that out on the 4th Friday of the month when it releases. Just saying, those videos, all the video game reviews and stuff like that, take many hours to edit. A heck of a lot longer than any of these types of videos take to edit, so I would greatly appreciate any and all support on those types of videos. So finally, what writing is going to be coming out on seasonalproductions.com in March? Well, one blog, which is probably going to be normal, like I said, will be coming out, and that one's going to be titled Eating Healthy Was the Best Decision I Made in 2021. Expect that on the 6th, which is this coming Sunday. I have a short story. I have another short story coming out on tomorrow, actually, on the 2nd of the month, titled Asylum's Despotism, which is part 2 of The Asylum. It goes hand in hand in partnership with February's short story called Asylum's Asylum, so those two will be paired together. Go check those out. I highly recommend reading those two together if you can. Just a little bit of a content warning though, basically all of the writing except for a random blog here or there contains next to no swear words or cursing, if any at all. Asylum's Despotism contains a few pretty serious swear words, so if that's something that you're not a fan of or not able to handle, you might want to avoid that. But most of the people who I'm sure are watching this are completely fine with that, so you should be fine either way. No novella material coming out this month. No novella material will be coming out until July, actually, so I don't need to go over that section right here. But for now, Silent Rain, the novel in the Reign of Ash sequence again. Yeah, like I hinted at a couple times in this video so far, the schedule for chapter releases for that is going to be changing just a little bit. Chapters are now going to be coming out on Fridays instead of Wednesdays, although all of the other short story content and other stuff like that is still going to be posting on Wednesdays. Like I said, the schedule for chapter releases for the books is going to change to Fridays because it just makes more sense with school and other stuff like that for me to be able to push to Friday, because I haven't been keeping up with the Wednesday release schedule for those most weeks out of the past several, and those have been coming out instead on Thursday or Friday anyway, so I'm deciding to just move it because it makes my life a little bit easier in several different ways. So in March, I hope to get chapters 7 through 11 published, which will come out on the 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th. Like what has happened the past couple months, if one of those chapters gets pushed back a week and pushes everything else back, don't worry about that too much. Sometimes that happens. I'll explain that in just a little bit. And then I do have one poem coming out in March on this Sunday on the 6th that is titled The Revolution. That one is actually the first poem that I'm releasing so far that does not interconnect or relate to the Reign of Ash sequence. That's just a little bit more of a personal thing. Maybe in the future I'll find a way to make it relate to the Reign of Ash sequence regardless, but as of right now, that one does not relate. Sorry about the kind of messed up writing schedule again. This is 2 months in a row that kind of things have happened like that. Like I mentioned, school combined with work got a little bit crazy the week of writing chapter 6, so I had to push that back. In fact, I didn't even get that started until a week after it was supposed to release. Like I said, changing the schedule for this will hopefully make meeting those goals a little bit more reasonable. We shall see. If things don't match up according to how I line up in these videos, those chapters are the things that aren't going to. I do most of these videos and stuff like that 2+ weeks ahead of time, and in the case of most of April, May, and June's videos, I've been doing those months ahead of time because of some of the work stuff that's going to be happening in April. So the writing of Silent Rain is the only thing that I ever have the ability to push back if it doesn't meet the time goal of when I want to release it. Despite it being one of the last things that I want to push back, it's just the only thing that I'm actually working on in real time, like right before it's supposed to release. Like I said, everything else I do so far ahead of time, that writing those chapters is the only thing that I can push back. But either way, that's the end of basically all of the update stuff that we're going into. But I should add right here, I have actually updated all of the playlists and visibility of videos and stuff like that for basically everything on my channel that I wanted to be able to update. So I think starting next month in April, it might need to wait until June, but we shall see. Starting soon, I can actually start to go over some of my YouTube stats in terms of watch time and subscribers and stuff like that in these videos if I decide I want to do that. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Either way, that's the end of this video. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Ring the bell if you want notification for any future videos that are coming out. Check out seasonalproductions.com for a backlog of all of my video and writing content. Go ahead and bookmark that and you'll have everything good to go all in one place. That's the end of this video. I will see you on Monday with my, I believe, Lord of the Rings tier list and ranking video. Well, that was a mediocre closing, but we're going with it.